Welcome in everybody to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host Michael Darcy, and today I'm joined by Michael Hebner, and we're going to break down the recent news regarding the Patrick Mahomes injury. So Chiefs Kingdom, we have some big news coming from NFL.com. Patrick Mahomes underwent an MRI, and it came back negative, so that means that he's only got a dislocated kneecap, and last night it got popped back into place, and they're saying that he could be back in as short as 3 weeks, which was very shocking to me, but at the same time, I am very happy that it's not a season-ending injury, and Chiefs Kingdom, we can all take a big sigh of relief knowing that Patrick Mahomes will come back to this Chiefs team eventually. But the biggest question in my mind is, can Matt Moore take over this Chiefs offense? I mean, we all know that Patrick Mahomes has that ankle injury that has pretty much been nagging him, and now with his knee, I mean, he might not be the same this year because, again, he just needs more time to heal. So, should the Chiefs go out and trade for another quarterback to basically be the starter until Patrick Mahomes comes back? Because I'm not sold on Matt Moore yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to just play it out a little bit longer. We can't really make a decision this week. I want to see what Matt Moore can do in practice because, again, he hasn't really had those reps that someone like Patrick Mahomes or Chad Henne would have with the starters. And even then, he's been out of football for, several months, 2 years, whatever it's been.
I mean, he was very close to quitting football altogether. So,
yeah,
I mean, and like you just said, I mean, he wasn't getting first-team offense reps. So, I think that the lack of production in last night's game was due to the fact that he had not played with this first-team offense. And that makes a big difference. I mean, do you remember, I think it was 2017 when Patrick Mahomes came in the last week of the season, and he put up a ton of points with the second-string offense? I mean, we were all very impressed, but we all knew that when he got a hold of this first-team offense, it was going to be very special. So I think that Matt Moore could get the job done, but he needs to basically play out of his mind in order to make sure the Chiefs don't fall off here when Patrick Mahomes isn't playing.
Well, yeah, but you also have to think that no matter who you trade for, let's say we did trade for someone like Marcus Mariota, who's been talked about, or even someone like Alex Smith, well, with the exception of Alex Smith because he's already been here. But they've still got to learn how to play in this offense. They've got to learn the offensive scheme. That's something Matt Moore already knows. Matt Moore has the knowledge but lacks the skill. You bring in someone like Mariota would lack the knowledge but have some more skill.
He'd have a little bit more skill. I think that Matt Moore's biggest advantage right now was he'd basically be a Alex Smith game manager, and that's what this offense needs. If he can give it to McCoy or Williams and have them eat up the clock, I mean, that would basically be a recipe for success for this offense, because I don't see Moore coming out and throwing for 300-plus yards every game. It's just not going to happen.
And we don't need that. I mean, we saw it with
We
Alex
don't,
Smith.
and honestly, to be quite honest with you, we need to pound this running game more.
Exactly, and Alex Smith wasn't throwing 350-plus yards on average per game, throwing, 6 touchdowns to 7 different receivers. I know the math doesn't work there, but the point is,
he wasn't putting up unreal stats.
Exactly, and we still managed to go 12-4 with him as our starter. I mean, sure, we weren't going to go win a Super Bowl or anything with him, but the fact was we won those games. And again, to get to the Super Bowl, we have to win. It could be by a field goal. It could be by a single point. All we got to do is pick up those wins. That means more pressure on the defense to keep it up, more pressure on this offense to start doing things. Like Tyreek Hill gets the ball. You could see his frustration last night in his first reception. I mean, it was, the third quarter, and he finally got targeted?
Well, yeah, because, they were double-teaming him all night.
Exactly. But even then, they didn't even try. There were several times they very easily could have made a touchdown or even a huge gain if Hill was just targeted. Because we even saw it last week with Hill's first touchdown since being back. He jumped up like 20 feet to catch that ball.
He floated in the air for 5 seconds, came out, and ripped the ball out of the Texans' defender's hands, and basically just fell in the end zone. I mean, that is Tyreek Hill in his prime.
Yeah, and it's not his size that's a problem. It's not who's guarding him that's the problem. It's just getting the ball to his general vicinity, and then he'll go and he'll catch it, and he'll go run it for a touchdown because that's who Tyreek Hill is.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of players like Hill stepping up, which he's already a great receiver, but it's just a matter of him taking his level and just elevating it enough to where he can carry the team on his shoulders, such as Kelsey could, or Robinson, or Hardman. I mean, this is a time for Hardman to shine. Watkins is out, and he's a threat, and I'm sure teams are watching him, but they're obviously going to rather pick Tyreek Hill to be double teamed than Hardman, which opens up chances for Hardman.
Well, my biggest question is if the Chiefs go this route, they might need to go out and get a running back because I think McCoy is good on first and second downs, but they need a power back that can really just get yards after the initial hit. I mean, McCoy's past his prime. Williams is okay, but he can't stay healthy. So if the Chiefs are going to elect to be more active in the running game, they might consider going out and getting a running back. But also the question that I'm asking you is, I think that they could get Marcus Mariota for like a 4th-round draft pick, which is insane because he was a first-round draft pick only like 4 or 5 years ago. So the fact that they could get a first-round talent who hasn't exactly panned out in the NFL, but he's by no means a bust, I mean, I might just throw that draft pick away and go for Mariota because I feel like in the playoffs when it gets like very much needed or in the later games of the season if Patrick Mahomes is not in, they need somebody with that electric arm. I mean, that's something that Mariota has. He can make plays with his feet and his arm. And Moore is just old. I mean, he's more of a game manager. And I guess that's good for this Chiefs offense because we need to dominate the time of possession more. But, I mean, we saw what Marcus Mariota did in that playoff game against the Chiefs. I mean, it was very impressive. So I think that if he was on this team, we would get him for very cheap, and I think that he would help this team win some games if Patrick Mahomes was out.
Yeah, and you also have to look short-term because this is not a long-term replacement. It's not like Mahomes is out for the rest of the year. He's only out for, we'll say, 6 weeks max. I mean, knowing Mahomes, he's
I'd
probably
say
be
5
next
weeks
week,
max.
But, I mean, it's iffy. It depends on who you ask. But knowing Mahomes, he's probably going to start next week because that's just who he is. He wants to play. So, obviously, they're going to treat his health seriously and be like, no, you're benched. We're not going to risk it. But at the same time, you need to understand that this isn't – I mean, it makes no sense to me unless, it was I would pay tops a 4th-round pick for Mariota if we were to bring him over. Because you don't want to go trade everything away for someone who's only going to play for the team for a handful of weeks, and then we're going to release him at the end of the year.
See, but here's the thing. I could see him being a solid backup quarterback if they don't decide to bring back Matt Moore. I mean, could you imagine Marcus Mariota as your backup?
If we trade for him, we have to pick up his contract.
Yeah.
It's not a completely new contract. If he's on a starting quarterback's contract, we're paying 2 people to start at a position that is only meant for one person. So it would be great. It's a great thought. I don't know. I wouldn't be interested in Mariota.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be Mariota, but it needs to be somebody that is new, young, fresh, and has that ability to win games. And so far, I mean, looking back at Matt Moore's professional career, it wasn't great, and that's why he was almost out of the league completely last year. So, I mean, it's not like Matt Moore is going to come in and be basically like Matt Castle to Tom Brady when he went out. So, I think that if they could get somebody that can help this team win those stretch of games when Patrick Mahomes is out, it's very important that they do so. I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be Mariota. He's just the name that's come up a lot in discussion because he has been benched. He is the backup right now. So, I mean, you could get a first-round talent for a 4th-round draft pick. And if you're in the business of winning and making money off of profits, I mean, Marcus Mariota would be another attraction for this Chiefs team. I mean, not like they needed more attractions, but I don't see the Chiefs regressing a ton if they bring in Mariota. I think Mariota is definitely a step above Matt Moore. And again, it does not have to be Mariota. I think that they need somebody to go out and get that will make this Chiefs team better in the stretch that Patrick Mahomes is away.
But the problem is not production. It's getting wins. I don't care if it's sloppy. I don't care.
Well, no, that's what I mean. The production that I'm thinking of is wins.
Right, but we don't know what Matt Moore is fully capable of. I mean, we only saw him in the first half of the game with very little experience playing with these starters, with very little experience on the Chiefs, and with practically nothing to go off of. I mean, he hasn't started in a long time. He already had a substantial lead. I mean, sure, he put up a touchdown, but can he put up 2? Can he put up 3? Can he get his team to march down the field?
And that's the question that I don't know if he can do it. I really don't know.
He wasn't exactly given a fair set or a fair hand of cards. I mean, yeah, sure, he's got one of the most explosive offensives in the league. But you could go put anybody in that situation, and I don't think they would have performed any better. The Chiefs knew they had a lead. They knew their defense was going to hold the game, so they played conservative football. We didn't see them play aggressive offense. We didn't see him take those deep throws down the field. I mean, sure, he threw a couple, but so did Alex Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing strictly conservative football last night.
So ultimately,
they might be doing that for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, Matt Moore, the plus is that he's a game manager, and he would probably just make this Chiefs offense more conservative. I would see it basically as an Alex Smith homecoming because they're very similar. I mean, Alex Smith is no doubt more talented, but I mean, Matt Moore isn't exactly the worst option. It's not like having Ryan Fitzpatrick or somebody like that. So, I mean, I don't think that Matt Moore's the worst quarterback to have, but I'm just saying that when you got guys on the market like Mariota and other guys for pretty cheap, you might as well go after them. But Chiefs Kingdom, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I just think that as long as the Chiefs can win games when Patrick Mahomes is absent, I don't care who's the quarterback, I don't care how sloppy the game is, I don't care who performs, who does what. I just want to see this Chiefs team win more games. So that's our take. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys like these videos and want to support me, go click the link in the description and go support me on my Patreon. I would more than appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the KC Sports Report by Michael Darcy.